What if two worlds collided? Not just in a ring, but in destiny itself. That's exactly what happened when WWE announced the unthinkable. Steven Seagal's daughter, Arissa LeBrock, would step into the squared circle to fight the most dominant woman in combat sports, Ronda Rousey. It was a match nobody believed would ever happen. Ronda, the former UFC champion turned WWE megastar, had steamrolled nearly every opponent in her path. Arissa, on the other hand, was known more for her Hollywood lineage and martial arts upbringing than for any time inside a wrestling ring. But when the lights of WrestleMania 42 dimmed and the promo package rolled, the wrestling world collectively lost its mind. Fans couldn't believe what they were seeing. Social media exploded. Steven Seagal's daughter against Ronda? Tweets, TikToks, and YouTube videos dissected every angle. Arissa wasn't just stepping into a fight, she was stepping into a legacy, one that carried the weight of her father's legendary martial arts prowess and her mother's Hollywood glamour. From the moment Arissa appeared on WWE programming, her presence was magnetic. Dressed in a sleek black Jai-inspired attire and carrying herself with a quiet, almost intimidating calm, she wasn't the typical rookie challenger. She didn't talk much. She didn't need to. Her silence was louder than any promo Ronda could cut, and when she did speak, she spoke with icy precision. Ronda might be the baddest woman on the planet, but I was raised to fight monsters. Behind the scenes, insiders whispered that Arissa had been training with top-level martial artists for months. Seagal himself, now older but still a formidable figure, was said to have coached her in his signature Aikido techniques, movements that could neutralize speed and brute strength with effortless precision. The WWE universe was fascinated. Could this newcomer actually stand toe-to-toe with a former UFC champion? The stage was set. WrestleMania 42, Las Vegas. Clash of Queens, the company called it. A bout that would blur the line between sports entertainment and legitimate combat. Ronda's name brought fear. Arissa's brought mystery, and together they promised chaos. The promo ended with a single line on the screen. When discipline meets dominance, one legacy must fall. And just like that, ticket sales soared, hashtags trended, and the world tuned in for what many believed could be the most shocking women's match in WWE history. But while the hype was electric, nobody, not even the most seasoned wrestling analysts, could predict how deep this rivalry would go. Because behind the glitz and promos was something far more dangerous, a growing personal tension between Ronda and Arissa that would soon boil over into violence. And when they finally met face-to-face at the contract signing, the tension didn't just simmer, it exploded. As the ink dried on their WrestleMania contract, Arissa did something that left the WWE universe speechless, and Ronda absolutely furious. What began as a blockbuster match announcement quickly mutated into one of the most personal rivalries in WWE history. This was no longer about championships, pride, or even legacy. It was about vengeance, ego, and respect. The moment Arissa LeBrock and Ronda Rousey locked eyes at the contract signing, the air in the arena changed. The crowd erupted into chaos as Ronda leaned forward, microphone in hand, and snarled, "You don't belong here. This isn't a movie set. This is my world." Arissa didn't flinch. Her reply was colder than ice. "Then prepare to be evicted." Fans couldn't believe what they were seeing. The usually composed Ronda was visibly shaken. Arissa's calm demeanor wasn't arrogance. It was control. Every movement, every stare, every word seemed calculated. And that psychological warfare started eating away at Ronda from day one. In the weeks leading up to WrestleMania, things escalated fast. Ronda attacked Arissa during a backstage interview, slamming her into equipment crates and locking in an armbar that officials had to physically break apart. Arissa responded a week later by storming the ring after Ronda's match, disarming her with a swift judo throw and leaving her unconscious with a perfectly timed chokehold. A move eerily reminiscent of her father's signature takedowns. Social media went wild. "This isn't WWE anymore," one fan tweeted. "This feels real." Even veteran commentators compared it to legendary rivalries like Trish vs. Lita or Becky vs. Ronda, except this time the animosity felt deeper. It wasn't about spotlight. It was about proving something. For both women. Ronda felt her legacy being questioned. After dominating UFC and conquering WWE, being overshadowed by a so-called celebrity rookie was an insult she refused to accept. Meanwhile, Arissa was driven by something darker, a lifetime of being underestimated. People saw Steven Seagal's daughter before they saw Arissa LeBrock. This fight was her chance to carve her own name into history, with blood, sweat, and broken bones if necessary. Then came the press conference, and the infamous slap heard around the world. Ronda, fed up with Arissa's calm arrogance, launched a brutal slap across her face in front of cameras and reporters. The sound echoed through the room. Arissa didn't retaliate. She just smiled. A cold, knowing smile that chilled everyone watching. "See you at WrestleMania," she whispered. Viewers on social media went ballistic. "That's not just hype, that's hate," one fan posted. WWE's official channels reported record-breaking views on every promo and segment. The world wasn't just watching a match, it was watching a collision of destinies. And yet, behind the scenes, something was brewing. Whispers began to circulate that Arissa's training camp had a secret weapon, something that even Ronda's MMA background couldn't prepare her for. As WrestleMania approached, an unexpected revelation about Arissa's training would send shockwaves through the entire WWE locker room. And Ronda's confidence would never be the same. Everyone thought they knew what Arissa LeBrock was capable of, until the truth about her preparation came out. That's when fans realized Ronda Rousey might not just be facing a rookie, she might be walking into a carefully engineered trap. In the weeks leading up to WrestleMania, cryptic footage began surfacing online. It showed Arissa training in places no one expected: remote dojos in Japan, hidden MMA gyms in Dagestan, and brutal conditioning camps deep in the Nevada desert. At first, people assumed it was just hype, but insiders confirmed it. Arissa wasn't training like a wrestler. She was preparing like a weapon. Fans couldn't believe what they were seeing. One journalist reported, "This wasn't celebrity boot camp. This was world-class fight science." Arissa's team included former UFC champions, Olympic-level judo coaches, and, shockingly, a retired Spetsnaz operative known for close-quarters combat techniques. Every discipline was part of her arsenal: Aikido for redirection, Judo for control, Sambo for takedowns, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for submissions. And through it all, one man watched closely: Steven Seagal himself. Leaked behind-the-scenes clips showed Seagal on the mat, personally correcting Arissa's stance and demonstrating techniques that were never taught in traditional martial arts schools. "Ronda relies on aggression," he told her. "You will use it against her." Those who saw the footage described it as something out of a spy thriller: deliberate, surgical, deadly. Meanwhile, Ronda's camp doubled down on her usual strengths: explosive power, submission mastery, and fight IQ. But she wasn't training for someone like Arissa. She was preparing for a wrestler, not a multidisciplined combat artist who could dismantle her game plan piece by piece, and that miscalculation would soon become apparent. WWE's weekly programming fed the hype. Vignettes showcased Arissa breaking wooden boards, countering attacks from multiple opponents, and performing techniques with terrifying precision. Commentators compared her movement to water: fluid, unpredictable, unstoppable. "This isn't just training," Michael Cole said on commentary. "This is evolution." Viewers on social media went wild again. "She's not coming to wrestle," one fan posted. "She's coming to end Ronda." Even some of Ronda's former opponents began questioning whether she could handle this new threat. Shayna Baszler, one of her closest allies, admitted in an interview, "If half of what we're hearing is true, Ronda's in for the fight of her life. But perhaps the most shocking revelation came during a WWE Network exclusive. Arissa revealed that she wasn't just fighting for herself, she was fighting to prove something to her father. "He taught me that power isn't about force," she said. "It's about control, and I plan to control every second of that match." As WrestleMania drew closer, oddsmakers began shifting. What was once a one-sided prediction in Ronda's favor was now a dead-even contest. And deep down, even Ronda began to feel something she hadn't felt in years: doubt. When the bell finally rang at WrestleMania 42, that doubt turned into sheer panic, because Arissa's opening move left the baddest woman on the planet stunned and gasping for air. The moment the bell rang at WrestleMania 42, it became clear. This wasn't going to be a standard WWE match. This was a war, and by the end of the first minute, the entire arena knew they were witnessing something historic. The Las Vegas crowd was louder than ever before. Over 80,000 fans stood on their feet as the two most dangerous women in sports collided in the center of the ring. Fans couldn't believe what they were seeing. Commentators shouted over the roar, "Ronda Rousey, stunned on the mat within 30 seconds. Arissa's opening move was a masterstroke of strategy. Instead of locking up traditionally, she ducked under Ronda's aggressive charge and swept her leg in a lightning-fast Aikido counter, sending the UFC legend sprawling. The camera cut to Ronda's shocked face. It was the first time anyone had ever outmaneuvered her that quickly. The crowd erupted into chaos. But Ronda wasn't called the baddest woman on the planet for nothing. She rolled to her feet, fury in her eyes, and unleashed a flurry of jabs and clinches designed to overwhelm her opponent. This time, Arissa absorbed the impact, redirecting Ronda's momentum with seamless transitions. It was as if she had downloaded Ronda's entire playbook. Social media exploded in real time. "This doesn't look scripted. This looks real," one user posted. "I've never seen Ronda on the defensive like this." Even WWE legends backstage were glued to the monitors, whispering that this might be the greatest women's match in company history. 5 minutes in, the tone shifted. Ronda managed to trap Arissa in a corner, driving knee after knee into her ribs before throwing her across the ring with a thunderous judo throw. The thud echoed through the stadium. Arissa writhed in pain, a rare moment of vulnerability. Ronda grinned. "Welcome to my world," she hissed. But Arissa wasn't finished. Like a viper, she coiled and struck, using Ronda's own momentum against her to reverse a takedown into a crippling arm trap. The two women battled for control, rolling across the canvas, every muscle straining. Sweat dripped, faces contorted, and the crowd held its breath with every near submission. Then came the sequence that broke the internet. Ronda went for her patented armbar, but Arissa countered mid-air, twisting free and snapping into a devastating triangle choke. The submission was locked in tight. The audience gasped. "She's got her! She's got her!" Michael Cole screamed. For the first time in her WWE career, Ronda looked desperate. Somehow she powered out, lifting Arissa and slamming her down with primal rage. Both women collapsed, exhausted, as the crowd chanted, "This is awesome," at deafening volume. They had passed the halfway mark, and neither looked ready to quit. Viewers on social media went wild. This isn't a match anymore. This is a war for legacy. But just as the match reached its boiling point, an unexpected figure began walking down the entrance ramp. Someone whose presence would change the entire fight in an instant. Just when it seemed like Arissa LeBrock and Ronda Rousey had reached their breaking point, the unthinkable happened. A shadow stepped onto the stage, and in that moment, the match transformed from a battle into a betrayal. The camera cut to the stage. The crowd erupted into chaos as Shayna Baszler, Ronda's longtime ally and real-life best friend, marched down the ramp in full gear. For weeks, Shayna had promised she would stay out of it. But promises mean nothing when gold, legacy, and vengeance are on the line. Fans couldn't believe what they were seeing. The commentary screamed. "What is Shayna doing here?" Arissa, still locked in a ground battle with Ronda, didn't notice at first. But when she glanced at the ramp and saw Baszler approaching, her expression changed. Calm, collected, but calculating. Shayna circled the ring like a shark smelling blood. Referees shouted for her to back away. That's when she made her move. As the official's attention wavered for just a moment, Shayna grabbed Ronda's hand from the outside, pulling her toward the ropes and out of Arissa's choke attempt. The crowd booed furiously. Ronda, gasping for breath, took the lifeline without hesitation. The distraction gave Ronda the window she needed. She launched a savage knee strike to Arissa's face, nearly knocking her unconscious. Blood began to drip from Arissa's lip as she staggered to her feet. But instead of panicking, she smiled. A cold, defiant smile that made the arena shake. "Is that all you've got?" she mouthed. That smile sent Ronda into a frenzy. She charged in, ready to end it. But that's when another twist shattered the stadium. From the crowd, a hooded figure vaulted the barricade and slid into the ring. Security rushed forward, but froze when the figure removed the hood. It was Steven Seagal. The arena lost its mind. "What is he doing here?" commentators yelled. Ronda turned, distracted, shouting at Seagal to get out. But the martial arts legend calmly stepped onto the apron and locked eyes with Shayna Baszler. In one fluid motion, he disarmed her attempted strike and flipped her over the barricade with effortless precision. A move fans replayed millions of times online. The chaos had reached nuclear levels. Arissa seized the moment, trapping Ronda in a brutal joint lock that nearly bent her arm backward. Ronda screamed in agony, crawling toward the ropes. But just inches away, she reversed the pressure, slamming Arissa face first into the mat and locking in the armbar once more. It was now or never. The WWE Universe was on its feet. "Tap, don't tap, tap," chants collided across the arena. Social media exploded with memes, live reactions, and theories. This wasn't just a match anymore. This was a Shakespearean-level drama unfolding in real time. With both women barely conscious and interference running wild, the match seemed destined for disaster. But what happened in the final minute would shock the wrestling world forever. Everything, months of training, years of legacy, decades of reputation, came down to the next 60 seconds. And by the time the final bell rang, the WWE Universe would be left speechless. Because no one, not even the fighters themselves, saw this ending coming. The ring was chaos. Referees tried to restore order, security struggled to remove Shayna Baszler from ringside, and Steven Seagal was escorted away amid deafening cheers. But inside the ropes, two warriors remained. Broken, bloodied, and utterly determined. Ronda Rousey clutched Arissa LeBrock's arm in a vicious armbar, screaming for her to tap. Arissa, face contorted in pain, refused. Every second felt like an eternity. Fans couldn't believe what they were seeing. One commentator shouted, "How is Arissa still conscious?" The camera zoomed in on her face, a mixture of agony and defiance. She slammed her free fist into the mat, not in surrender, but in rage. Inch by inch, she twisted her body, reversing the pressure. The crowd roared as she rolled Ronda's shoulders into a pinning position. 1, 2. Ronda kicked out. Both women staggered to their feet, wobbling like exhausted gladiators. The clock ticked down. The audience was a hurricane of sound. Chants, screams, disbelief. Ronda threw a wild right hook. Arissa dodged. Ronda tried a judo toss. Arissa reversed it midair into a brutal spinning elbow that sent Ronda crashing to the mat. The sound echoed like a gunshot. This was it. Arissa climbed the turnbuckle, her body trembling from exhaustion. "Finish her!" the crowd chanted. She leapt, a diving knee strike straight to Ronda's chest. The impact shook the ring. Arissa hooked the leg. 1, 2. No. Ronda kicked out at 2.9. The arena shook with disbelief. Social media exploded. How is she still alive? Both women crawled to the center of the ring, eyes locked. This wasn't hatred anymore. It was respect. They exchanged strikes, each hit heavier than the last. Then, out of nowhere, Ronda attempted one final armbar. But Arissa was ready. She spun out, seized Ronda's wrist, and transitioned into a Seagal-style joint lock no one had ever seen in WWE before. Ronda screamed. She clawed for the ropes. She couldn't move. The referee hovered, ready to stop it. And then, it happened. Ronda's hand hit the mat. Once, twice, 3 times. The bell rang. The arena exploded into a wall of sound. "Arissa LeBrock has done it!" Michael Cole roared. "Steven Seagal's daughter just made Ronda Rousey tap out at WrestleMania." Tears streamed down Arissa's face as her hand was raised. This wasn't just a victory. It was a statement. She had stepped out of her father's shadow, defeated one of the greatest fighters in the world, and etched her name into WWE immortality. But just as fireworks lit up the stadium and Arissa celebrated atop the turnbuckle, cameras caught a chilling sight. Ronda sitting on the mat, glaring at her with cold fury, and mouthing the words, "This isn't over." And maybe it isn't. Because if history has taught us anything, it's that in WWE, the end of one war is only the beginning of another.